Welcome in. I am Kapualani, and if this has found you, Spirit, your higher self, especially has some insight, some wisdom, some guidance for you if you're open to it. All right. There may be, okay, so a couple of things to start off. You're at a pivot point, choosing a new direction, waiting for the new direction to emerge. You're in a phase, it may have seemed like a holding pattern, but you know that there's a doorway leading you to a new reality, a new timeline. You know that whatever has been, I'm getting the word disintegrating, but I feel that it's the shedding. Um, if you've been present to any of my work or the messages that I've shared, and if you have, thank you. Thank you for being here. And if you're new, welcome. But what I'm getting to is there's been a lot of reflection on release and shedding. It's all been like this shedding, and all of it in tandem with these new beginnings that we're holding space for. But if you're here, especially right now, you can feel something stirring within you. You can feel your higher self, your higher power, your ancestors, your spirit guides. You can feel them pulling you into the new reality. I'm hearing the dimensional doorways into the new dimensional frequencies. Okay, returning you to that path of authenticity of the self, connection to core truth, that unconditional love is the core truth of all things. All right, so let's get to this message here. We had the seas of Mintaka. It's a little bit upside down. Seeing potential, bring unconsciousness to light. So there's something that has been suppressed in the psyche, the subconscious. And for every single one of us here, for most of us at least, in having this experience and in showing up here for this experience, we agreed to forget the truth, forget where we come from. 232 on the timer, 234. Thank you, Spirit. We chose to forget so that we could have this experience, because in this realm, why are we here? To experience that which is not love, so that we could remember what love is. We can remember that innately every single one of us has that flame of truth, of love, of unconditional love within us. All right. Ooh, gotta do a little bit of a chime to that one. If there's any resonance, reflection, connection for you on that one, just breathe that in. You're going to have a little energetic shift there, maybe. Let me know. I'm going to just give these a quick look, because look, there's just a lot going on here. So we've got, I don't really know how the author intended on pronouncing this one, Uriath, 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 like here on earth. Longing for home, homesick for the stars, Star Brothers, double mission. So let's go back to the Star Brothers. Sorry. Horus energy, protection, loyalty, safety, trust. Double mission, light worker, star seed, serve the world by being you. Portal, doors are opening. You decide rewards, wild card. Big picture thinking. Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. So there's a lot, like I said, in the subconscious, what has been suppressed, repressed to have this experience, the agreement to forget, it's all catching up. Those contracts and those agreements, this is the time where whether you remembered that, oh, okay, like how this is how I'm going to put it, whether or not you have actively and consciously done that part of the work where you said, if you've had any session work or you've done this yourself, where you are saying, to the universe, your higher self, your I am presence, for example, like I relinquish all contracts, la la la, null and void, da 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 da, da, all the things that have all the distortions that were agreed upon, whether knowingly or unknowingly, willingly or unwillingly, to have this experience, that's all being relinquished. It's all being undone. the restoration to the core truth of all things, which is unconditional love, is happening. Whether people want it or not, consciously, everybody wants this. Not everybody wants it. There's this song, sorry, 80s, David Lee Roth. Okay, so if you know the song, if you know the deal, maybe that's for you. All right. So, yeah, yeah, you know the movie. I just gotta say it. John Cusack. Somebody's just okay. So you are, woo, you're not alone. Okay. There are in 144,000 stuff, that whole deal. Spirits like, okay, we're just gonna leave these. All right. We're just because it's just good fun. This was upside down. So this is my acknowledgement from spirit that you're feeling the pull. You don't know what it is. It's like when you're watching that movie and the main character's like about to have some kind of existential awakening. This there's something stirring subconsciously, like the whole, and let's not go to the dark side of this, but the Donnie Darko thing, with the timelines. Um Connectivity of consciousness and the awakening of consciousness, the awakening to the awareness of that connection, because spirit's telling me I'm about to grab my other deck here, and spirit's like, not yet. You're feeling the scratching, you're feeling something pulling at you, but it's like, it's like I said, like in the movies when you see the main character and they kind of like, they get the vibes and they're like, what is that? Something is stirring, something is calling to me. I don't know exactly what it is. And maybe you do know what it is, but there's a hesitation because this is your part where you're breaking free from the patterns, you're breaking free from the distortions, the distorted timelines. Okay, the untruth of it all. You are breaking free of this, Forrest Gump. All right, so it's like cut the deck, breath of the cosmos, my will to thy will, micromanaging the universe. Yeah, you got to let go and let flow. So that being said, I'm gonna leave this one out here. Cool. Then amethyst. I don't know if you caught that one. All right. So having that connection, restoration of the core truth that you're awakening to in terms of trusting your vibes, trusting your calling, um, and respect to mindful optimism, mindful cautiousness around how you are moving through all of this, the actions that you're taking, the decisions, the choices, and so forth. It's like you want to be well prepared. You want to just breathe, breath of the cosmos. What is the action? Surrender to the universe rather than micromanaging it. Notice where maybe you are gripping on a little bit too tightly. Call out to, like, I'm getting this, the Star Brothers, the Star family, the connectivity of it all. The double mission here is, it's like there's something here activating in the twin flame consciousness. Sorry, I'm a little bit like, yeah. And the twin flame, I will say this however many times it takes. Twin flame starts within. It is not someone or something outside of you. It starts within. The connection, the consciousness, the healing, the work is within. All right. So that's where the polarity consciousness, double mission, not that that's what this means, but the message that I'm present to, um, is mending, is what I'm hearing. The polarity, just as much as the poles on the technical planet, um, have been shifting. The electromagnetic field and whatnot. The electromagnetic field and the timing and the sequence of events and how things are playing out right now is such that it's going to work to your benefit. And that's where we were saying earlier, whether people want it or not, whether they consciously were able to do the work or not, called to do the work. Everybody has a calling. It's what, how you answer, and if you answer how far do you take that call or whatever, you know? So let's not dwell on that too much longer, Spirit. Anything else wanted to come through? Because that download and all these were much longer than I had originally intended. So yeah, let me go to the tarot real quick and see if there's any other insights that want to come through for us in the meantime. Knight of Cups. Oh yeah. Take the inspired action. Listen to your heart's calling and don't be afraid to express. And I feel this is more about like working up to the point of a launch. So this is where I feel that if whatever it is that you're working toward, um okay, let me just kind of dial this back. With this Knight of Cups, it's saying to start to make things happen. Don't worry or put any sort of heavy duty expectation on yourself to like have perfected results is more of what it is. Don't expect perfection of yourself. This is the time where it's about you gaining more experience, you really seeing what you're capable of by giving yourself a little bit of trust, trust your gut in this case. All right. Allow for your emotional self to, all of the healing work that you've done, for example, or um, things that you kind of have scratched the surface on. This is the part where Spirit's saying, all right, if you were like window shopping something, okay. And then I said, out of what is it, 20 things that you could possibly see in the window, I want you to narrow that down to 10 so that when you go in, you're maximizing your time and energy and effort, all that stuff, right? You're not like just kind of getting lost in 20 different things. We're cutting it down to 10. It's kind of like that for some reason. All right. So this is where Spirit's sort of giving you a bit more of this practical guidance, and how you can approach your circumstances. So yeah, this is where you start to get more of a feel of what really is your voice, what really and truly is speaking to you on a core level. This is where you're mending and also not just mending, but strengthening that connection between yourself, your higher self, and therefore your intuition. All right, as I say that, Nine of Swords, yeah, where you're able to get out of the doubt, out of, the mind, the rationalizing, and how to make sense of the feelings and the thoughts and all of this type of thing. Okay, there may be fears that are coming up, and that's where the Knight is saying, just be brave, don't be afraid to go after your dreams. Um, there's something about protecting the inner child. As I say that, we have Temperance. You're healing that inner child. You're starting to see how you are the protector to your inner child, and you're okay with that. See the protector to the inner child with the Sun clarifying. Wow, I feel like it. I mean, it just doesn't get better than that. We're going from like this dark night, with the Nine of Swords, like a nightmare, and the Temperance, where we are working through the nightmares. We're taking that risk as the Knight of Cups and saying, you know what, I'm not a child anymore. And even though I don't fully know what all is like there beneath the surface, I'm not afraid to address it. I'm not afraid to look at my fears and my doubts face forward head on, because I'm brave. I'm gonna have my heart is guiding me through whatever my mind, my fears, my doubts, the worries, the nervous system, the aspect of this, it's the survival, right? Protecting the ego, the id, ego, all that kind of stuff, where we're protecting the self. And the Temperance is coming through. That's that energy, that higher divine guidance, where I was saying whether you want this or not, whether you were working toward this consciously or not. And so this is a message for you, especially that if there are loved ones that you're concerned about, friends, family, whatever, people that are in your life who are no longer in your life, whatever, just know that they're receiving these codes, these downloads, and these opportunities to transform and to awaken as well. Okay, we're all gonna be going back to the same place, which is unconditional love. I mean, no judgments. It's not that it's just that kind of an express train, although it can be, depending on how you look at time. So yeah, but I'm sorry, 15 on the dot when I saw that. But the beauty of what we're seeing here with temperance is temperance does represent the possibility also of miracles, transforming what we thought was like from a nightmare, right? Like, how do you move on from that? How do you heal from that? La 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 la, and that's where temperance is coming through. And there's the emotional cleansing, the opportunity to have some consciousness around the deeper layers that were subconsciously triggering, self protecting, putting up walls, preventing deeper connections or deeper truths from coming to surface, being activated. All right, which was preventing you also from stepping into your truth, into your goals, your dreams, the fullest realizations of the manifestations possible. And that's that, that you came here to potentially experience and embody. And so that's where, look at this sun again, we're emerging from that night, the darkness, and we had the Knight of Cups, right? That's not afraid of the dark, not afraid of the emotions. Like, I might be freaked out, but I'm not going to let my fears stop me. In fact, that's what's going to fuel me to get through this. Because I know something inside of me is telling me that on the other side of it all is illumination, is freedom, is awakening, is that, it's kind of like, what is fear? um I can't even remember like the mnemonic device to it. Fear. I can't- yeah, what is it, like, just something that's not realized, right? Just, but anyway, so having that, I feel like we just want to, I want to just kind of close it here. I feel like before I go any further, because the messages are just so clear, I'm getting ringing in my left ear. I'm always having ringing in my ears, but especially now. So I thank you. I also want to add that if you feel a strong resonance to this and you would like to connect through a personal consultation, I'm available for live consults to do the energy work, especially. All right. And supporting you in your energy work, your energy healing, your reawakening. All right. So take care, and I will see you when I see you. Thank you so much for being here. All right. So I closed up the reading, but Spirit was like, there's more and you should not have stopped. So I'm just going to honor it. So this is a part two. So, Spirit, yeah. What's on the other side of this illumination? What is the action? Thank you, Spirit, for that guidance in terms of where we are directing the flow at this point. Thank you. Six of Wands. Look at this success. You don't have to be afraid to put yourself out there, okay? Even if, again, maybe intimidated, once you overcome that, you will be met with success. The Six of Wands, that's where I feel like Spirit was acknowledging the part of, if there is something that you're wanting to launch, if there is something that you're wanting to express, say, do, create, become, this is where you can do the trial and error. Don't be afraid to, like, if you're wanting to create a certain form of content, if you do a bunch of videos, it doesn't mean that you have to post all of them. And even so, you don't have to post everything or whatever. You can just sort of play with it so that you can build up a degree of self-trust, and self-confidence. That's what it's about with the Six of Wands. I'm feeling, thank you, Spirit, that it's about building your self-confidence. Yeah, High Priestess, Queen of Pentacles. So yeah, you don't have to fully put everything out there yet. That High Priestess is sort of like, you can protect your process. The Queen of Pentacles is acknowledging that we're building this for the future. So there's no There, the only urgency is that you start now, is that you start doing these things. And again, the freedom to that is knowing, like, you're not being put on the spot, because nobody's going to see it but you. Nobody's going to know unless you want to share it, which is not a problem either, because maybe you're at that point too where you're like, yeah, I'll share some things and see. That also helps you, spirit saying, to like fine tune your audience. I kind of want to look at this one. Look at it. Okay. Queen of Pentacles is acknowledging thank you. So we're going to put, yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. The bigger message, thank you, Spirit, is on the other side of this transformation. Number one is community. All right. You're going to be building community, and you're going to be, there's a welcoming feeling of your presence, your gifts, your energy. I feel like with this Queen of Pentacles, I feel like this is about building a future. I feel like you might be working on a business of your own. And this is an acknowledgement that once you just overcome and transform those fears and use that, here's the thing: you are your work of art, you are your main source from which to, to create from, right? The external can be valuable in terms of inspiring you, but essentially the core of the content comes from yourself. That's where the true authenticity of it is. That's where the true wealth, prosperity, the heart of it really is. And that's why we have the Knight of Cups here. Okay, and we're doing this in these forms of integrity because we have Temperance and the Sun, right? Transforming pain into something that can be powerful in whatever which way that is, and whatever, when you transform that into something that can be shared, that others can relate to, for example, that they can feel some kind of, or experience some kind of catharsis, or experience some kind of transformation themselves. All right, tap into something deeper in themselves. Again, that's all of the connections that we were seeing here. Breath of the cosmos, surrendering to the bigger picture thinking, not being afraid to go through that portal and recognize double mission, that you do have a greater purpose. It's not just this mundane experience, nor is it just this like out there celestial experience, right? We're bringing that into union. We're looking at all sides of things, all directions, past, present, and future. Okay. And there is protection. We've got the Star Brothers with protection here. And with the Sun also, that Puma energy. Okay. And there's the consciousness awakening, homesick for the stars. And I put it up right. Excuse me. There's an awakening that's happening to your stellar consciousness. A deepening of it. If you've already had, I'm hearing like flickerings of awakenings, things coming through, vibes and so forth. You may have also done ceremony, to do some journey work. Um, yeah, you may have, if you're watching this, you may have already done some journey work, or at least if you haven't, I feel like that's something that you're wanting to experience. So stay tuned. Stay tuned, because things are starting to ramp up again for moi, but we'll see for all of us, right? All right, so Spirit, get us back on track. Queen of Pentacles, bring this into a space, into a form that can be realized, okay, to provide for you in your future. And let's see, what is this direction message with the Queen of Pentacles that she is observing? Five of Pentacles. All right, so this is the part where in Five of Pentacles, Breath of the Cosmos, surrendering rather than trying to micromanage. This is where we're having a shift. Sorry, I saw 626 as I was saying that and bumped that. So I'm hearing poverty consciousness is being overcome, and it's not that I'm saying that you have this, but don't, how should I put this, Spirit? Don't fret, don't worry. if your finances or your gains are not quite up to par with the consciousness that you see for yourself, the goal that you have for yourself, the future that you're working toward, um don't push yourself to try to do anything that is beyond your abilities right now. Okay. This is the part where we're doing things to restore value, is what I'm hearing. This is the part where we're doing things to strengthen the self again. So focusing on the steps, the actions that are going to bring restoration, focusing on your talents and your skill sets, not the things that you're trying to learn right now, not the things that you're trying to necessarily become. Like, if it's about not exactly trying to, let me kind of, I don't want to go too far into that one. This isn't about regression, this is about progression, and the growth, the growing pains. Thank you, Spirit. It's like growing pains. It's like an awkward phase where, oh, thank you, Spirit. Like, you might be losing weight, for example, and it's like, what's the point in buying new clothes right away when it's like your goal, and what's happening is like you're going to continue to lose more weight, right? So it's like your clothes are fitting awkwardly, kind of. Ooh, yeah, that's what Spirit's saying. It's like this is just an awkward phase right now. So don't focus on the lack or the losses. Focus on that, the fact that this is a transition. Okay, so what is this transition? Excuse me, transitioning into, Spirit? What are we transitioning into, or at least what's the action that can be focused upon? There's a lot of cards here. Well, a few. So, all right, let's just put like all three of them back here. I know there were three for sure. All right. Five of Swords. Transitioning from Five of Swords. Okay. This is okay. You don't have to cut any losses. Don't go into the fear-based stuff. Don't go into minimizing, and don't, this is okay. Thank you, Spirit. It's like, have you heard the phrase, don't have to don't toss the baby out with the bathwater, that real old school phase. So it's just kind of like slow your roll. Okay. Things might be slow right now. Things might be out of whack right now, financially, economically, opportunity wise. It may seem like crickets. Um, but that's not the case. That's where this is the phase. Everybody is feeling it in some way. Everybody's going through it. But the opportunity is the Ace of Swords with the Magician to overcome and to empower the self and the mind. Okay. Taking control of your focus, where you're putting your focus in your direction. Okay. That sword is indifference, cutting through the fears, cutting through the doubts, cutting through, even overcoming. We're not being emotional here. We're looking at things for just fact, for what it is. We might feel emotional, might feel a certain way. I'm not getting that too much, right? I feel like in this case, maybe the emotions are really put to the side, or it's like survival mode for some, right? Or even just exhaustion, where you're just like, well, it's not really survival. It's just more like meh, you know. So, woo, do your best to don't try not to be too hard on yourself or others right now, because there may be a kind of a tendency toward like a short temperedness for some, a little bit just kind of like, ugh, leave me alone right now, so that's where the Magician with that Ace of Swords is saying, let's just sort of, and even in this case, that raccoon is focusing on that wand and that light. Okay, so we're going to use our power of thought and focus to stay attuned to the inspired action, the main goal. So we are not getting in our own way. So we're not self-sabotaging and creating more of a mess for ourselves than is necessary. 11:33 on the timer. Thank you, Spirit. Um, okay. So how long is this gonna, like, okay, that's just what I was getting with timing. What is the breakthrough here from that five, those double fives that we're seeing, Spirit? The breakthrough strength, that's fair. Thank you, Spirit. That's very fair. That's very fair. So yeah, this is the part where it's just contending the mind and that the primal instinct to just sort of lash out. Sorry, y'all. You know, um, mental strength and acumen are overcoming triggers right now, like fight or flight. Thank you, Spirit. That's what it is. The fight or flight reflexes is really being rational and like, okay, if anything, so much love to everybody, saying this with nothing but love and kindness, but this is about, do you want to hit the goal or not? This is how excellence happens, is by not making excuses and overcoming, because it's not that your feelings don't count. Of course your feelings count, but letting your feelings get in the way of your goal. Not that you're trying to win at any cost. That's not what this is about. But sometimes we do need to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, even when we really don't freaking want to and don't even have the energy to pull up any bootstraps. Sometimes we just have to drag ourselves, you know? But it's about the strength of will, that sun, to do it. Six of Wands, and you have it in you to do it. You can do this. Your future, Queen of Pentacles. You see that future that you want. Don't be daunted. I know right now it's daunting, but that's where strength is saying, and with the sun there, you know, you can do this. And I'm telling you that you can do this. It's the Magician. That's your power as well. Taking back your power, your will, the illumination, everything that's happening right now, that existential kind of scratching, like, or not, like, hey, hey, what's going on here? The other side is calling, right? Freaking you out. A little bit of freak out there. I don't know. I don't really want to touch you because I don't know what that means. People questioning their own mortality and such. But it's really about the awakening to the fact that on a consciousness level, your soul knows what you came here to do and the timing in which you came here to do this. And so, on a biological level, on a biocircuitry level, electromagnetically speaking, if you have an electromagnetic field and it's like a radar, right? And the radar is picking up all these blips in the field, right? That are within a certain radius of it, that's like your electromagnetic field, and the timing and the shifts of everything and how it's influencing your electromagnetic field, how it's kicking out certain programs and distortions that have messed with your biocircuitry and your electromagnetic field, aka your ability to sense the things around you and understand what it is that you're sensing, including yourself. Okay? All of those distortions are dissolving, and as I am saying this, I am commanding that now. And that is up to you. Actually, this command is coming from pure unconditional love. So anything that is not aligned with pure unconditional love cannot stay. And if you are listening to this and if you are hearing this, especially if you consciously agree to this, claim it. You don't have to like or comment anything. You just feel it, say it out loud to yourself. I don't care about the likes, whatever. This is about your soul sovereignty and restoration of the truth. There you go. Thank you, Spirit. Whew. So, how long do we need to stay strong here, Spirit? What's going to power us? The lovers. Yep. There it is, the twin flame consciousness. Love yourself first and foremost. Love yourself first and foremost. Have compassion for everyone around you and seeing how everyone around you is also in the same fight in some way, shape, or form. Some in vividly different ways than others. All right. But there's no judgments, right? And there is a sacred transformation that's taking place. Okay. That's happening right now. There's Leo, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius energies in the majors, just to acknowledge. Then the earth signs, of course, with Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, and Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio with that Knight of Cups. All right. So there's a unification of consciousness that's happening. There's an awakening to a restoration that not all is lost. So this is what I will say, okay? If you're single and if you are, you've been doing the work and you are calling in partnership or holding space for that, and even if you're kind of like, nah, 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 it's just about the healing around all of that. And this is also about, more than anything with the lovers, it's expansion, it's next levels. Um it's in translating this, it does emphasize a significant choice. It emphasizes a significant potential relocation or move agreement that's being made. So it could be a shift in your career. You could be changing career paths. Um, there could be a significant connection partnership also coming through. So let's get a little bit of emphasis on this, spirit. Let's get some grounded practice. All right, High Priestess. All right, it's a secret. You may know what it is. The moon. Yep, it's a secret. There are things that are in transformation right now. Okay, so this is where it's more than one thing. This is not necessarily specific to love, although if that's part of what you're wanting to manifest, then by all means. All right, 18 on timer. Thank you, spirit. 18 with the moon here. 18 may be a significant number for you. Something could be happening within 18 days, 18 weeks, potentially potato, 18 hours. um okay, there's more that's happening. There's more that needs to happen. This is about you trusting your gut and really listening to your instincts. All right, this is not so much, again, rationalizing aspect. We're keeping that on the straight and narrow is what I'm hearing. So it's like navigating through the dark very mindfully, but knowing that you are the light guiding your way through the dark, and that there is a light there. It's not just that yeah, there is a light, there are energies, you have energetic support. There are others that are gathering to connect with you, is part of the bigger message that I'm getting here. You're not alone on this journey, but there's something that's happening here that is happening behind closed doors, and that's for your own sake. It's sort of like, when you, like a magician, when a magician is getting ready before going on stage, there's like all this preparation that's taking place. That's where perfection and excellence lies in the practice makes perfect. And so that's where this is all getting back to a grounded perspective on a practical level. Practice your craft. Start to utilize the skills, the tool sets, start to put things into action so that you yourself can build up that familiarity, so that you yourself can also see and feel what works for you, what feels natural and authentic to you, what your authentic voice, your authentic creation might be, regardless of however many, like, for example, I can only speak for myself here, however many healers out there, however many psychics are out there, however many tarot readers are out there. All right, you have to find your own voice, and that's what makes it authentic. Three of Swords. Disagreements, struggling with finding your own voice, feeling like maybe you have found your own voice, but other people have, like, maybe taken it. So you're recovering from that and healing that. Yeah, I feel for you. Give me a little bit of insight on that, spirit. And I feel like maybe spirit just wanted me to stop. I was like, I think the message was like, okay, we had to close that up back there. But let's get a closing on this insight with, yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. And I want to pull this one because it's sticking out. Ace of Pentacles. Yeah. One thing at a time. Okay. Something, okay, the path ahead is being illuminated. Focus on your tangible wins, steps that you can take, things that really start to illuminate and align with your sense of purpose, or at least, it doesn't have to be like so purposed, um but just that are starting to gain momentum, helping you to build up momentum for what's ahead. um, okay, okay, I see. There's some things that I feel like you're working toward, and you're not sure if something is achievable. You're not sure if certain people will be agreeable or willing to support your goals, or be what is it, receptive to what you want to offer, what you're sharing, who you are. And that's where I feel like Spirit's saying right now, don't worry about that. Right now, you're in a position of becoming. You're becoming. You're going to be 22, 44 on the timer. Thank you, Spirit. This is just kind of finding that direction and having that confidence. We see the opportunity. We know, like, for example, when people are trying to go, this is the best example I can give, trying to go from couch potato mode to fitness mode. You see all these things that you're like, oh, I could do that, or I have experience with that, or yeah, I'll buy some weights, or I'll buy this thing or that thing that'll kind of get me motivated to work out or whatever. But then you're feeling daunted because you're just like, oh, I don't know if that's actually achievable, blah, blah, blah. But then you start to maybe see some, results, and you're feeling like you can't keep up, or some kind of like, maybe you feel like you've hit a wall. Maybe you feel like there's certain things that are out of reach, or that you won't get to in time, but you will. Don't let your mind get the better of you. Don't let external chatter get the better of you. If there is a space, if there's a situation or a relationship, that we're think if there's a situation that's muddled or feeling disharmonious, this is the time for recovery and healing, not like trying to push through anything. So it's like giving space for a healing to happen, understanding that now may not be the time to try to, like, I don't know, shed light on something, or like, I don't know why, but I'm hearing like point something out, expose, like argue. This isn't the time to get into anything, like to dredge up anything, because it's not going to come from an aligned place. This is where strength is coming through, saying you got to be aware of the trigger happy stuff and like agitations, hormones for some, just like all kinds of stress that may be happening, like this Eight of Wands, with the Five of Swords and Three of Swords. It's kind of like things could be feeling a little bit chaotic in the energy, in the communication. So that's where it's just like take a breather and stay grounded. Um, Overcome, lay low, lay low, lay low. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes saying nothing is the best thing to say, But let me get a closing card here. Spirit, the devil. Yeah, this is a time to really overcome and recognize the self limits, and we're starting on a new platform here. This is also a time to get, I'm hearing spirit saying, like, getting serious about how you're approaching longevity, because I feel like with the aspect of the devil, who, the Capricornian aspect that is the best at business, for example, knows how to take a dollar and turn it into 10. Just something as easy as that. I feel like it's something along those lines where you're really going to be in a position to own your mastery. Like with the devil, it's taking an idea and running with it, taking an idea, that Ace of Swords, and running with it, and not being deterred by any like fears or doubts. The Three of Swords is again like past, present, future wise. We get caught up in our thoughts and we doubt ourselves. But that's where, with that Five of Pentacles here and so forth, again, I stress that it's staying focused on your strengths and staying focused on steps that are going to make help you to make progress. You know, like when you if you hurt your leg or something, right, and you got to go to physical therapy, you're not going to go from like being in a cast to just like doing sprints again. You know, this is the part where spirit's like, you got to be patient with yourself and patient with the process, and not try to push things into a timeline that it's like it's not that timeline yet. You know, you're not there yet, so don't worry about it. But this is the time that you need to be putting effort into getting there. This is the time that you're working toward the vision of the future that you see for yourself, the goal of where you want to be right now. This is that time to work toward it. And so that is where I feel we're gonna just wrap it up. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. This was very in depth. I hope that this helped in some way or form, supported you on your journey. As I mentioned in the previous video, if you're interested in scheduling a consultation with me, your own personal consultation, I'm available live or pre-recorded. So you can check my website, kapualani.com, and stay tuned. Things are transforming very rapidly, as well as the offerings and insights that I hope to provide, that I'm holding space to share here. So thank you, thank you, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for showing up. And I will see you soon. Take care.